So many children are labelled these days. There seems to be a big push to give a label for every condition that a child has. Now, whether or not your child's got a label is, I just want to share with you some thoughts. I used to be tolerant of labels. I thought that they were really helpful. And of course, sometimes they are. Sometimes if your child needs help, they only get help if they've got a label that's diagnosed a condition. But the more research I've done, the more I've talked to thousands and thousands of mums and dads and kids, the more I realize that labeling generally gets applied far too early. There's far too big a rush to get a label. Because a label does some bad things as well. A label reduces expectations of a child. A label sometimes writes a child off so that no one expects them to do anything other than just the least amount in their schoolwork. And that's sad because very often those children that have been labelled, A, they're very bright underneath, but you can't see it yet. But secondly, the limitation that's giving them the symptoms they have now is not a permanent condition. It's a limitation that can often be dealt with, often be removed. So how crazy is it, how unfair is it to give a label to a child that's a permanent label that will mark them, influence themselves and influence those around them for the whole of their lives, when in actual fact the condition they're suffering from is only a temporary one. It's the one that can be helped. So I believe the whole process of labeling should be absolutely rethought, and no one should be allowed to diagnose a child and give them a label until they're absolutely certain that the symptoms that they're suffering from now are symptoms that absolutely cannot be taken away in the future by some form of intervention. So if it's not permanent and you're absolutely sure, unless you're absolutely sure that it is permanent, don't give them a label, please. People are going to stop expecting of them. They're going to stop expecting of themselves. And you know what? Very often it's the children that have been given a label that have the brightest intellect underneath. Because very often that bright intellect gives them a fire hydrant of ideas that requires a lot of neurological development to cope with. So these are the children that go into overload, that will show poor focus, that will show a poor control of their impulsivity, or might show as poor reading difficulties, or poor physical coordination, or poor social skills. Often these are the skills, these are the children that have got brilliance hidden there, waiting to be discovered. What I want the whole education industry to focus on is let's find their potential. Let's check out whether something can be done that's transformational to the symptoms they've currently got. So if you've got a child that's got a label, please rethink whether you want them to stick with that label, or whether you're actually going to show all your initiative and all your effort to become a warrior mum and find a solution to that challenge that they've got and help them get beyond it. All the best.